Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review another new movie. And at this point, I kind of feel like I'm at a casino and I'm just playing for the fun of it. Just blowing away all my money on these gambles that I know I'm not going to win. Because, like, every single movie, it's like bad, 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 kind of good, bad, bad, bad. And this is yet another movie that is not terrible. It's just not good. Or it's not very good. I mean, it's just, I'm really not sure where to put this movie, because I think that when you recognize, like, what it's trying to do or, like, what it's emulating, it's hard to kind of, like, turn your brain off from thinking about that and just separating this, and thinking about this all by itself. Because the movie that I'm reviewing is called Immaculate. This is the newest Sydney Sweeney movie. Now, this movie, it is a movie about nuns. And something that I thought was really funny was that in 2021, when Ghostbusters Afterlife came out, you also had what? Benedetta, the lesbian nun horror movie. And, well, actually, was it really a horror movie? No, kind of. You had those two movies, and then in 2024, you have Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and Immaculate. So isn't that kind of funny? That, like, in 2021, you also had a horror movie with nuns, plus a Ghostbusters movie? Well, the difference is, in 2021, those movies were good. In fact, Benedetta was the best movie of 2021. I mean, easily. I mean, I could watch that movie at any time. I bought it. I own it. That's how much I like that movie. And I don't even like religious movies or nun movies about nuns. But it was good. Not just because of the sex. But it was good. It was very good. Now, this movie, on the other hand, let's just go through the plot, or should I say, because this movie's plot was like a drive-in movie plot. It's a very simple plot. It's been done before. It's very cheap in terms of every single thing in the movie that happened was very predictable. There wasn't any point in the movie where I was like, what's really going on? Or, oh no, I wonder what's going to happen. I'm really worried. I'm really like, oh no. The whole movie felt like I could just predict everything that would happen in every single scene. And there was not really any surprise or any sort of suspense or tension. It was very meh. And now, the story, I don't know where to go here. I don't like doing reviews this late. I'm actually doing this review at nighttime just to get it out of the way, because this movie was actually surprisingly short. It was only an hour and 20 minutes long, and I guess one good thing is that it went by very fast. And I guess I would sum up my criticisms with, this should have been a short film, if anything. It really didn't need to be a movie. It really didn't need to be this long, because the story was so simple that you could have shortened it even more, and you could have just done like a 30-minute short film. It wouldn't have made a difference at all. That's what I'll say. Now, the story is all about this nun named Cecilia. And this movie takes place in a hellish nightmare world where Sydney Sweeney decides to become a nun, so no man has any chance at getting with her. And, I'm also reviewing this movie in a hellish nightmare world where basically none of us have a chance with her anymore. So, it's just kind of sad all around. It's like there's no winning at all in this world. You go see Ghostbusters Frozen Empire one day, and then the other day, you see Immaculate. I mean, if that doesn't sum up 2024, I don't know what will. And this nun, she's a young nun. She's just become a nun. She's at this exclusive Italian convent, and she doesn't speak Italian. She speaks basic bitch language, which is English. And she's noticing some weird things going on, some weird, strange things. What's going on? Who's behind it? And then, oh shit, all of a sudden, she gets pregnant. And it's like, wait, what happened? Uh-oh, we got some Rosemary's Baby shit going on in this convent. And guess what? The movie is Rosemary's Baby again. And I think at this point, there's got to be like a subgenre of horror movies, and it would be called like lazy Rosemary's Baby ripoffs. Because first off, we have American Horror Story Delicate. That series is still going on. I mean, it's going to resume in a week or so. Oh, God, I'm so not excited to continue watching that trash with Kim Kardashian, her untalented ass. That show is based on a book that's like a Rosemary's Baby ripoff. And this movie is like a Rosemary's Baby kind of ripoff. Like, it seems like the only thing that they can think to do with, like, religious horror is to make it to where there's a woman and she's giving birth or she gave birth to an Antichrist baby. Like, that's the only thing that, like, and it's so weird because you think about the Bible and you think about all the stories that are in there, and you think about all the different, like, creatures and all the different things that you could adapt and make into, like, good horror movies. It's the same thing with, like, how instead of making, like, original black characters and original black movies where they explore, like, black mythology and, African mythology and African characters and stuff like that, they'll just, like, tokenize existing white characters. And, like, yeah, like, I just don't know why this... I just don't know, like, what was the purpose of this movie other than to just be another Rosemary's Baby ripoff? Because, like, I'm serious. Like, there was nothing new to this movie that made me think, like, yes, that was a twist on Rosemary's Baby that I did not see coming. No, we saw it all coming. Unfortunately, we didn't see... never mind. I don't want to go there. And another thing about this movie is that, unfortunately, it has a lot of jump scares. And the jump scares are annoying, to say the least. I mean, I'm just really sick of jump scares in general. Because I feel like if you have a scary thing happening, you don't need to play a loud noise to tell the audience that it's scary. Because it's just irritating. It's like all of a sudden, like, loud noise, and it's like you don't really need that. And also, this was funny too, because at this point in the movie, I didn't know what the story was going to be about. I swear to you, and I took this note ahead of time. So there's this part at the beginning where Sydney Sweeney is on the toilet, and it is not as... Sydney Sweeney on the toilet in a movie was not on my 2024 bingo card, to say the least. And it's funny because immediately when I saw that scene, I thought of American Horror Story Delicate. You know, they have multiple episodes where Emma Roberts is on the can. And I was like, you know, what is their obsession with seeing Emma Roberts on the can? And well, what do you know? In this other Rosemary's Baby ripoff, you get to see Sydney Sweeney on the can. and this time, another girl comes in and joins her. No, she doesn't join her. She goes in there to smoke or whatever and talk to her. And yeah, it's weird. It's very weird. It's a European thing. This movie's it's not altogether there. You know, like I'm trying to like think of like anything good that I can say too, because like everything good that I can say is going to end up with me roasting something in this movie, because like I like the acting. But at the same time, these characters were not really great characters. They all were kind of cardboard cutouts that I've seen before. The main character especially. You know, this character, Cecilia, she could have been anyone. This didn't have to be Sydney Sweeney. This could have been Sydney Sweeney. You know, this could have been one of the two girls that I just filmed with last month. You know, like this didn't even have to be Sydney Sweeney. It just could have been anyone. The priest guy who was evil, he did a good job. I kind of, but he could have been anyone. Like none of these people, none of these characters, nothing from this movie was unique enough for me to say like there was something good about this movie that it stands all by itself and I can say like, oh, that was good. That was good. You know, it's just like everything was okay. And like, I guess if this was the person's first film, whoever made this, then I would say good job. But I have a feeling that it isn't. And yeah, I guess I'm just so like worn out from bad movies that I don't even know like if I can say that this movie's better or worse than like Race for Glory, Audie versus Lancia, or Miller's Girl. I guess the only thing that I can say for this movie that's good is that they didn't use one of those sex police people miraculously, which is really surprising because there was one scene where I was like, you know, you really think they'd use one for that scene since they're obsessed with using those for some odd reason. But like, yeah. So anyways, just all the typical stuff happens. You know, she spits out a tooth. Been there, done that with horror movies. She comes across a room where she sees something horrifying go on, and she wants to scream, but she can't, and my throat just dried out. It's like some sort of a scary ghost just got into my throat. What the hell was that? Ugh. And then there's a character who seems evil, but she's watching out for the main character, and she warns her. There's a character who's jealous of her, and so she tries to kill her, and then she kills herself. Like, see, like, we've seen this all before. Every single fucking thing. We've seen all of this before. And so I'm going to kind of skip, you know, because there's not really much of a point to keep, like, to make this review, like, 10,000 years. So eventually, she just starts going on a rampage. It kind of reminded me of Get Out a little bit. Like, she was in this vulnerable position. You know, they had already, like, tortured her and burned her crosses onto her feet. Which I felt like the messaging in this movie was a little over the top. I mean, they're literally beating you over the head with the message. Like, because then what happens is she picks up a cross and she beats Mother Superior to death with the cross. And I was like, yeah, that's weird. you know, like, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, this movie, it's a modern movie for sure. You know, it has those little hints of, like, modern horror and modern movies like this, with scenes like that, with seeing a Mother Superior get beaten over the head with a cross. And then she's trying to escape. And by the way, we're never really explicitly told what's going on. There's never any, big revelation scene where, the villain goes on a monologue and he says, "You see, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened before we kill you. Blah, 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 blah." There's nothing really like that. And then the main priest, who we see a lot for the whole movie, he tries to get her, and he ends up, and I will say this, he chases her through these tunnels, and I will say that I was really jealous of the people who made this movie, because these tunnels were very creepy, and they would have been perfect for my film, because there are no tunnels around in my area, and I had a really good part in my film near the end where there was tunnels briefly, and I thought, it is a damn shame that I can't use those tunnels, because they're in Italy, and who knows how you get to use those. And so he chases her down, and he pins her down, and he gives her a forced C-section. And this is where the movie just becomes completely absurd, because it's also a cliche thing where the person waits for the villain to kind of be distracted so that she can reach for the weapon and then stab them. So, oh yeah, I forgot to mention the crucifixion nail. This convent supposedly has one of the crucifixion nails. And I was like, I smell bullshit here, because this nail looks very new. And remember when I was digging up artifacts in the backyard of my house that was destroyed by terrorists, when I dug up maybe 1,000 nails, it was pretty absurd. And these nails were from the 1800s, they were from the 1900s, and they looked like shit. They looked like they came out of they looked awful. They did not even, some of them didn't even look like nails. They were so gross looking and so disgusting. I don't even know why I touched all of them with bare hands. I didn't even wear any gloves. And in this movie, they try to convince you they have this crucifixion nail, and it's this really pretty nail, and it's just perfect, and I just was not able to suspend disbelief. It was very, very clear that was not the nail. And I thought, this is a horror movie. These characters are supposed to be evil. You could have done something. You could have had an explanation where it turns out, oh, that's not the real crucifixion nail, because these people are evil. They just make stuff up. They impregnated her somehow. That's not really explained. And so they could have made that up too. That would have worked for me a lot better. She takes this nail. She conveniently had it in her pocket. She takes it out. She stabs the priest. And this is, by the way, after she had already burned the priest, trapped him in this room, and then he just busted out of there. And instead of making sure that he was dead, she just kind of hobbled along, and just moved on, because it wasn't over yet. And after he gives her this forced C-section, this is where it gets really, really queer, because she stabs him and she's screaming and crying, and then she gets up and she looks at him, and for some reason she stops screaming and crying. And then after she looks at him, she turns around and she resumes screaming and crying. And I just felt like that was the oddest, most bad acting in the whole movie. Because just imagine, you're in severe pain, your belly was just cut open with a scalpel, with no anesthetic, and you're bleeding. And you have to get up. And by the way, I had a terrible abdominal tear from working out, overworking out in 2020. There's no fucking way that after this forced C-section that this girl could have just gotten up like this and walked out of there and climbed. She actually climbs out of the place. Like, no way would you be able to do that after going through what she went through. Because when I had that tear, there was no way that I could have done that without like being in such severe pain that I would have been crying. So I just want to say that right there. That was very unrealistic, and I know that not everyone has had an abdominal tear, but I mean, it just, from that experience alone, like, I could say, like, there's no way she could have gotten out of there at all. She would have been lying there next to him, crying and crying and crying. But anyways, that acting like you're in severe pain, but then you look at the bad guy and he's dead on the ground and you're like, huh. And then it's like, it's like you resume crying after that. Like, that was a very strange choice. And I don't know if that was Sydney's choice personally or the director's choice, but it was a very weird one, because if your belly was cut open like that, you would not stop crying just because you look over at the bad guy. And I know that it sounds like it's nitpicking, but it was just such an obvious, like, this is clearly acting type of moment that it was just very funny. And she gets out, she climbs out of there somehow. And this part, again, this is like a complete cartoon. She is somehow able to rip her baby out of her chest off camera. It's like 5 minutes of just her screaming and pulling something out off camera. And then she bites off the umbilical cord. And after she has done all this, by the way, she's able to get up like it was no big deal, just having birthed a child, having your belly cut open. And she just walks uphill and grabs this huge rock, and she lifts the rock. How would she be able to lift the rock after having all that happen? No fucking way. No way. So then she goes over to the baby, and she looks at the baby with a grossed out face, and she kills the baby, and that's the end of the movie. We don't get to see it get killed like an Eraserhead, but she does kill it. And yeah, and oh no, another bad ghost got in my throat. That was random. But anyways, this movie was weird. It was just kind of there. And I was left thinking this should have been a short film. If it was a short film, and if it was this person's first ever short film, I would say, good job. Keep going and make something more original. Because I guess one thing I could say that I liked about it was that it had some nice violence. It had some very nice gore. The part where she beats the Mother Superior with the crucifix, there's some very nice, like, violence there with the bashing of the head and everything. I really appreciated all the violence in this movie. And also, again, I thought that the acting was okay. It wasn't bad. It wasn't, like, terrible, except for that one part where she was crying and then all of a sudden she stops crying and then she resumes crying. And then the music wasn't very good. I mean, in some cases it was okay, but I felt like the music could have been better. And I guess I could say it was a well-made movie. I mean, it wasn't like terribly made like others we've seen this year. So yeah, overall, I'm kind of in the middle about this movie. I'm just sick of watching Rosemary's Baby ripoffs because I just feel like I've seen it all before. I'm sick of seeing the same story again and again and again and again. Especially because I didn't even like Rosemary's Baby to begin with, the original movie. I mean, it was made by a pedophile of his wife, so that's bad enough, you know. And then you have this, and you have that American Horror Story, and it's like, I'm sick and tired of it. I'm sick and tired of this story. Like, do something new. If you're going to do a religious horror movie, go read the Bible instead of, like... Because I think, like, it was so predictable for this movie to be, like, one where, like, oh, of course, we're going to get to see, like, someone get beaten over the head with a cross and then using a crucifixion nail to stab a priest in the neck, like, oh, of course, it's exactly what you'd expect from a 2024 movie like this. And instead of that, like, go read the Bible and find a story or find some creatures or some kind of monsters or characters and make a story. Make an original story that just takes inspiration from the Bible. And you can still have Sydney Sweeney. And by the way, I have $1 million idea. You guys ready for the $1 million idea? Okay, you got Sydney Sweeney. She's in... remember that sweater that woman wore in Straw Dogs? The original Straw Dogs, not the shitty-ass remake. You know, the one where, like, her nipples are, like, fully through the sweater? Straw Dogs nipples. I'm searching that on Google right now. Where is it? I just want to see. Yeah, there we go. I mean, like, this character, like, those nipples are iconic. And I just think, like, no, don't make a remake of Straw Dogs with Sydney Sweeney. That would not be good. That would be painful. We don't need a remake. The original was good enough, but no. You have Sydney Sweeney. She is in the nipple sweater from Straw Dogs. Now, you see her in the sunlight. It's the golden hour. It's vintage 1970s aesthetic. And Sydney Sweeney is just looking like she always does. Like she's just gotten she's constipated or something. She always has this look about her, like she's like, you know, she always has this like, type of face. And I'm trying to, like, demonstrate to you guys, but I can't, like, show you guys. So I'm like, it sounds like something's going on with me, though. Maybe I will actually take a picture and show you guys, like, me making a Sydney Sweeney face. But she's making the Sydney Sweeney face. She's got the nipple shirt on. And on this picture, because this is going to just be a picture. It's going to be a big picture. You can put this picture in schools. You can put this picture out on the streets. Everywhere. And on the middle of the poster, it says, "Got milk?" Boom. That is a billion, million, gajillion dollar idea right there. I swear, if that poster was up in the gym, I would work out so much, I would faint. I would do everything. If this poster was in the Ukraine, there would be no war anymore. This poster could end the world's problems. If you just have a poster of Sydney Sweeney and says, "Got milk," I guarantee all the world's problems will be solved. Suck on that. I should be president of this country. So, anyways, my review for this movie is, you know, I was thinking about this and I was like, you know, I'm almost out of Oreos. I only have 2 left. Safi will probably eat both of them for breakfast because she eats Oreos for breakfast. And I was thinking, this movie is like Oreos, but like a lesser version, or like, you know, because it's like a Rosemary's Baby, but like a lesser version. Because you also think, like, this is a 2024 movie, so this 2024 young and liberated female character, instead of her motherly instincts kicking in at the end, where she really wants to care for the baby, even though it's the Antichrist, she kills it immediately. Like, you know, that's a very 2024 thing. You know, there was this bitch that was in my creative writing class in high school. She was a huge feminazi. She actually bragged in the creative writing class that she plagiarized things. And she said, like, it wasn't worth it to come up with her own stories unless it was, like, the final project or something. Like, so she was proud to be a plagiarist. And the whole class knew about it except for the teacher, which was funny. And she wrote, like, a story, and it was like a pretentious feminazi story where, like, this woman was having a baby, she was pregnant, and it was, like, killing her from the inside. And it's like, this is what a lot of women think nowadays, is that, like, they associate pregnancy with, like, evil and bad things, and, like, instead of being happy that they're having a baby, it's like, no, the baby is killing me from the inside, and it is like this monstrous evil thing that I have to kill. And so, like, that's what this movie really is. It's like a movie that kind of promotes that attitude. But then again, I would have killed it. I would have fucking bitten its head off and spit it out and said, fuck you, Antichrist baby, go fuck yourself. Like, I don't care. Like, that would be that would be the only way I could kill a baby. Like, because I wouldn't kill baby Hitler, I wouldn't kill baby Kim Kardashian, but I would kill the Antichrist baby for sure. So anyways, back to, I don't want to talk about killing babies anymore on this channel. Because people will get some weird ideas. But I would give this movie a bowl of Oreo O's. Because when you run out of Oreos and all you have left is Oreo O's, you could kind of suffer through it. But, like, Oreo O's are just a really lesser version of Oreos. I mean, why would you want to have Oreo O's when you could have the real thing? Or when you could have, like, Oreo desserts, like a McFlurry, an Oreo cheesecake, or dirt cake, or something like that. Why would you go for the Oreo O's? I guess because it has milk. Got milk, Sydney? Anyways, please like this video and comment, and tell me what you thought about Immaculate. Personally, as long as we're making, like, movies about nuns, I want to see a movie with Jenna Overrated Ortega as a nun. Because, I don't know, I just, that's a good movie pitch, like, Jenna is a nun. And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.